Well, ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm going to be discussing the potential road to 400 electoral votes for Donald Trump. I did a video like this about a month ago. I didn't really believe it. I still really don't. But after everything that's happened to the Democratic Party, many of us shocked the total mess that's going on there, whether it's Biden, whether it's Harris, either one. Doesn't seem like they've got much of a chance. You've got Democrats, you've got independents, you've got Republicans all coming together, all uniting under Trump and realizing that Trump's going to win. Many Democrats forfeiting on the election and switching over to trying to win the House of Representatives, maybe try and keep Trump from making big Republican changes, or at least also maybe trying to impeach Trump. We saw that happen back during his first term. But in terms of the presidency right now, I'm just going to give everyone a quick little, this is normally what I go to when I do videos like this. You can see, I haven't seen this in like a month, so they've updated it, and they do have Trump as a pretty clear favorite at 219, Biden at 198. That's what it is right now. Obviously, I do disagree with a few of these. This is very remarkable, though. Leans Biden, just 7 total electoral votes leaning Biden. That's the Maine at-large. I haven't seen a recent poll come out of Maine. The one problem I will say when it comes to Real Clear Politics, they're very strict on the polls. So, like, you see all these different polls on X and other places, they just don't include them into here. I guess you could argue they're erroneous, things like that. But, I mean, we saw the crazy internal polling where, according to Biden's campaign, they had Trump up like 9 or 10 in most states. That doesn't go into any of this aggregate numbers just because it was leaked and it's not official, I guess, or they didn't release it. So there's like a lot of hidden polling, if you will, that's around the internet that you're not going to find on Real Clear Politics. But right now, likely Biden, Colorado, there's some pretty crazy polling out of Colorado. If Trump gets 400 electoral votes, would he need Colorado? I would say probably. I mean, right now, technically, the average is he's only down by 2 points in Colorado. Illinois, I really don't think there's any chance Trump can win Illinois unless things go catastrophically bad. Let me just say before I even start filling this out, if Trump actually gets to 400 electoral votes, that'll be because of the Democrats' incompetence. At this point, we've just got too much of a partisan country. It would have to be really bad in terms of the way, whether it's Biden, whether it's Kamala, it would have to be really bad in terms of the way they run their campaign to really get Trump to 400 electoral votes. Even if Trump runs a perfect campaign, I think his ceiling is probably like 340, 350, which is what most people are saying. And that was what Biden's internal poll revealed, that Trump was at around 340, 350 electoral votes. To vault up to 400, you really got to start taking some of these Democratic states that are pretty far to the left. Oregon's another interesting one. I will say both Colorado and Oregon, if you just look at the polling average, Biden's only up by a few points. New Jersey, we've seen some internals from Trump that have him up by 2. New Jersey's definitely one. If you're going to get 400 electoral votes, you need to win that state. The Maine, the one of the districts, that's another one. I would expect the Democrats to win that. Biden won it fairly comfortable. That's the first district. He won that fairly comfortable in 2020. And then Maine, just the statewide, I think that's a pure toss-up. They're saying it's lean Biden. It's not a big deal. New Mexico, lean Biden. I would agree right now, although Biden's own internal had it basically Trump up by half a point. So I would say maybe a toss-up. The toss-ups right now, Arizona, certainly a lean Trump. Georgia, certainly a lean Trump. Michigan, I would say slight lean Trump. Minnesota, I would say toss-up. Nevada, I would say lean Trump. New Hampshire, I would say toss-up. You could argue slight lean Trump. North Carolina, Trump's winning that. I think they're going to give it up. I'm guessing the Democrats will pull funding out of North Carolina. I think the last 10 polls, it's like Trump plus 7. He won it in 2020. He won it in 2016. Biden's approval ratings have gotten so bad now, it's catastrophic levels. They're down to 37% approval rating. That's being reported by 538. It's historic low. It's lower than Trump's during the COVID drop. Trump had a really nice approval rating going. He was going up in 2019. Early 2020, it was still very impressive, and then it falls significantly with the pandemic, and Biden now is even lower than Trump was during the global pandemic, where it was a no-win situation. No matter what you did, if you were Trump, it was going to end badly. So Biden is still below Trump if you go back to the 2020 pandemic. This is historically bad stuff. And I can't even say anything. It's like Democrats agree with me. They want Biden gone. So it's this weird moment in politics to where it's like everyone agrees. Some of the inner Democrats, the establishment people, they still want Biden. But a lot of people, even Van Jones came out and said, I mean, people are passing stuff around behind the scenes. This is BS. Everyone comes out in front of, Fox News or CNN and says they love Biden, but no, this is over. It's just not going to happen. We're going to replace him. So they're all saying that, and we'll see what happens. But North Carolina is going to Trump, whether it's Harris or Biden, by the way. I don't think Trump is going to lose North Carolina. Pennsylvania, you could argue that's a pure swing state, although I will say the recent polls out of Pennsylvania, probably I would say slight lean Trump. Virginia, I mean, yeah, I would say that's a pure swing state based on the recent polling. Wisconsin, pure swing state. Nebraska, 2nd district, I would lean it to Trump. Biden won it in 2020, barely. And then you've got lean Trump. Florida, Ohio, they're locks. Texas is a lock. The Maine district, I think, is a lock because I think Trump's going to win statewide Maine as well. And then you've got likely Trump. Alaska's a lock. Iowa's a lock. Kansas is a lock. Kansas being a likely Trump. There has been a narrative that a lot of liberals are moving to Kansas. It is kind of weird because it's like, it seems like such a Republican state. It really doesn't matter, though. It's 6 electoral votes. But no, Trump's going to win Kansas. Missouri's a lock. Montana's a lock. I saw a poll that came out today. There was like a big update on polls, and Montana was one of the states that they updated. It was kind of funny, but Trump was up 20 in that poll. And then South Carolina, Trump will win that state as well. So now that we have the context to it, let's actually get Trump to the 400 electoral votes. Let's see how we're going to do this. I'm just going to fill it out pretty normally, maybe a little bit bias pro-Trump because I'm going to try and get him to 400 electoral votes, but we are going to just kind of fill it out, really bullish scenario, and then possibly change some states to get Trump over the finish line to get him to the amount of electoral votes, 400. So you do have these 3 states out west. Washington, I think it's going to be very hard for Trump. There hasn't been a ton of polling, though. I don't think it's absolutely impossible in terms of Trump winning Washington, but it's going to be unlikely. Oregon is one I'm probably going to have to flip for Trump because the recent polling suggests it's close. You can say whatever, Oregon with Portland, it's going to go Democrat no matter what. I don't know with the recent polling. It's interesting. California, I think it's impossible to, give Trump that or really any Republican nowadays right now. Trump might be able to keep it within 15, maybe that, but winning it, it's very likely not going to happen. I'm just going to give Trump, obviously Nevada's a swing state. I think Trump's going to win it. I think Trump's going to win Arizona. Technically, I think you can make an argument right now, Arizona, Trump has better polling numbers there than Nevada, so we'll darken it a little bit more, not that it's a big deal. All of these states, obviously, Trump is going to win. We'll just go through all the states. I think Trump for sure is going to win. The one district in Nebraska, I think Trump sweeps Nebraska, and obviously in a 400, electoral vote scenario, not that he needs the one, it's one electoral vote, but I think he gets it anyways. All of the normal states for Trump, that normally always go to him, obviously. Florida's another one, normal swing state that now is clearly within the Republican control. North Carolina, I'll lighten it up a little bit, but obviously going to go Trump. When it comes to the Rust Belt, I will go Trump with all these 3 states. If we're talking about best case 400 electoral votes, I think it's very realistic. Trump wins all these 3 states when you combined. And look, obviously the election's not tomorrow, so the Democrats they're going to rally behind someone, whether it's Biden, whether it's Harris, and you're going to get the media turning. I think for the media to really try and spin this, they need to get rid of Biden because there's just been so much backstabbing by the media against Biden that I think was orchestrated by high-level Democrat donors. And so it's like, can the media and CNN really backtrack and say Biden suddenly is fine? It seems like total clownacy. I don't think it's going to happen. So at that point, I think if it is Biden, he's going to get annihilated. And you also have the Her tapes in the background. I think the Republicans, whether it's legally or illegally, they're going to get their hands on those and they'll release them in October. And it'll be horrible for Biden because those are going to be catastrophic for him. Or the Democrats will do it just to get him out because I know a lot of them want Biden gone. When it comes to the state, I would give Trump New Hampshire as well. Well, let me give him Indiana. New Hampshire is a state that I think Trump can win. Right now, you could say maybe 51% chance Democrat, 49% chance Republican because the Dems have won it in the past recently. It's only 4 electoral votes. It is what it is. And then when you talk about pure Biden states, all of these other states are going to be outside of New Jersey. I would say pretty much Maryland, maybe you can try and argue it, but it's unlikely. To get Trump to 400, I don't think we need Maryland. I do not think that. We might need New York, and I would probably say New York before Maryland in terms of Trump winning. It's his home state. It's gone significantly to the right. The areas surrounding New York City, we saw what happened during the midterms. That's one that Trump might be able to take. And then when it comes to Maine, I will go ahead and still give Biden that one district just because I think they got a really good chance of winning that one. But other than that, so this is kind of where we are right now. Obviously, Alaska. Hawaii's interesting. I saw a poll in Hawaii that had it really close. The third party might really influence that and give Trump a chance, but it's 4 electoral votes. We're talking about Hawaii there. I don't think Trump's going to win that state. But now you can see Illinois right now, I have to go Biden, but let's try and get Trump to 400. He's at 319 right now. This is obviously a very bullish scenario for him. So you look at Minnesota. That's a state that we kind of talked about after, you had the narrative of both Arizona and Nevada being pro-Republican states in 2024. Then we kind of moved to Minnesota and Virginia. Now we're kind of saying maybe Minnesota and Virginia both going to Trump. If that happens, do you then move to like a New Mexico and maybe a Colorado along with an Oregon and New Jersey and then New York? That's where you kind of bring those states, and that's the way I would do it. So if Trump can secure the Rust Belt, he takes Minnesota. He only lost by a point in 2016. It was a lot worse in 2020, which is very shocking considering, their capital, Minneapolis got burned down by Democrats and by BLM and Antifa, and that was the worst riot actually according to Axios. When it comes to money, horrible. They've hit it. It's $2.5 billion in property damage. And they say, oh, but you're simping for big corporations. Yeah, they take out the insurance and it falls back on the consumer. That's how it always works. It's not just, you pay for it with insurance. It's going to fall back. It's a ripple effect. Okay, so that's how that works. But you go to Virginia, and look, if he chooses Glenn Youngkin, I think he wins Virginia for sure. Without Glenn Youngkin, it's going to be a bit harder. I don't know who Trump's going to pick, honestly, because it did look like it was going to be Doug Burgum, but he's got some problems, apparently. They're digging stuff up about him. Other Republicans don't want him. I don't blame them. I said Doug Burgum was going to be a bad pick. Now it's shifted to, like, Rubio, maybe Youngkin, but and maybe Ben Carson. So we'll have to see when it comes to that. But now Trump's at 342. You've got Biden at 139. I would say when you look at the states remaining, it would be, it's just hard because Colorado, it's very limited polling. Let me just make sure Colorado is actually that close. When I look at, it is Biden plus 6 points. I could swear there was a Colorado poll that had Biden plus 2. Maybe I misremembered that. The polls are kind of all, churning together now. What was that, New Jersey? New Jersey's the other state. Well, see, there's more polls in New Jersey than this. Come on, guys. This is the thing with Real Clear Politics. I understand if you don't want to add it to the aggregate, but you should have every single poll in every single state because it needs to be like a database. But it's like they're like, it's not a good enough poll. But when there's no context, how are we supposed to even see any of this? There's zero context. You give me one poll from March. There's obviously been more polls than that. And there have been recent polls that have Trump honestly up. It was a Trump internal, but still. So I would say you would have to go with New Jersey, Trump winning it by maybe a point or two. Well, in this scenario, possibly more because we're going to need more states. Also, New Mexico, there was a Biden internal that had Trump up by less than a point. That's been a state that Biden's kind of led by 5 or 6, maybe even 7 points, although there's very limited polling. That gets Trump to 361. Is this realistic at all? It's not crazy unrealistic. I think New Jersey and New Mexico would be very hard for Trump. I'm not going to lie. But after that, you are looking at, maybe even Hawaii comes into play here, but just for the sake of this, I would say you're looking at an Oregon based off of recent polling. You're looking at a Colorado, and then you'd be looking at a New York, and that would get Trump over the total, 407 total electoral votes. I think that's probably how it would go. I think it's, Illinois. What are the actual polls in Illinois? I don't even know the recent averages. Biden plus 9. So it's similar to New York. Biden plus 9, the recent polls there. Well, actually, this is from October. Guys. Or no, this is, these polls are just crazy early. Listen, that's actually really bullish if that's true. Because you would think Biden since October would go significantly down. Because it's been so bad for him. His approval rating's gone down. So maybe Trump does have a chance in Illinois. Maybe it does end up being a total stomping. Trump wins Illinois as well. And then he gets to 426. You look at some of the unwinnable states for Trump. I would say certainly California. Yeah, that's just insurmountable unless there's something crazy that happens to Biden. Washington, I think, is insurmountable. Not really, actually. Yeah, this is a recent poll that has Biden plus 8. Washington might be an option. Biden won it by 20. That's a crazy swing. he won it by four more points than Hillary did. Oregon, actually Oregon, plus 16 for Biden. That's not many polls, though, and they're not recent. That's the problem. But other than that, I think all the other states, like all of these states, down the line, this thing is just, they got to try and make money here. There's really no chance. I haven't even seen polls out of Maryland. Yeah, there's no way you're going to win Maryland. It's just not going to happen. So I would say that's probably best case. You could even argue maybe Oregon still goes to Biden here just because, he was up by like 12 in that poll. But I would say something like this would get Trump over the 400 mark. This would have to be a massive Democratic collapse. I think Trump's pure ceiling is probably like 348, 357, something like that. But if you have the crazy collapse, Colorado possibly becomes in play. Illinois and New York just seems so unlikely. I would probably say New York over Illinois just based off a sentiment. I already think Minnesota and Virginia possibly could be going to Trump. New Jersey, I would say a better chance it goes to Trump, obviously, than New York or Illinois. New Mexico, even a better chance than New Jersey, I would say, based on polling, just based on demographics, based on recent history and elections. The overall difference has been closer in that state. So this is what I would say probably as absolute best case scenario. It would be hard to see any of these other states going for Trump, and that would kind of be the road for Donald Trump to over 400 electoral votes, give or take. You give Biden Illinois, that's actually going to bring Trump, under it at 399, but maybe that makes it slightly more realistic. Obviously, this would have to be a total meltdown. Give Trump Hawaii. Yeah, get Trump back over there. He picks Tulsi Gabbard. They easily win Hawaii. There it is right there, 403. He gets both Alaska and Hawaii. It's so weird seeing both of them one color because that never happens. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.